It is 10 p.m. We're just wrapping up probably the most stressful quarter of business in my life. And it was funny because I had a 2-hour long call with one of my teams today where we really talked about, and it brought me back to like where I was at when I was 19, 20, 21 years old, and where I was at in business and in life and how I was thinking, because we were talking with each other about kind of looking at where we're all at in life, and at some point realizing, I asked one of my team members, when you were 20 years old, what percentage of the people around you in your life, if you had told them like what you're doing right now, because she had started multiple successful businesses, what you're doing right now, how many of them would have supported you? 10 people closest to you. How many of them would be like, fuck yes, go do it, go make it happen, out of those 10? And she was like, 1. And I think it's kind of crazy to think at some point that the people that we are surrounded with, there's so much in a lot of our lives that we would want to change, that we would want different. And the unfortunate truth is that the majority of the people that we currently have around us don't really want us to change. They don't. And it's nothing against them. This is not like people suck or anything like that. It's just that the people around us, especially when you're looking at starting a business or making major changes in your life. For example, in college, the friends I was going out with, like when I decided to start my business and start staying in on Fridays and Saturdays, they'd be like, come on, come out, all that stuff. And not that I don't have anything against going out, but I just had something different that I wanted to do. And, it started to cause some tension in my relationships with my friends in college because they didn't want me to change. They wanted me to still be the guy who would go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and who wasn't just sitting in his laptop trying to work on something. And it really, also brought me back to the first few months of me working as an engineer and looking myself in the mirror, seeing myself, 40 pounds overweight and being like, okay, I'm making, and good money too. I was making $12K per month, more money than I ever made in my life. And I was so disappointed with thinking like, is this what life's about? Everything, the 22 years of my life to this point have led to this moment where I'm miserable. I'm not happy. And that's literally 100% of my life had led to that. And at some point, for me, my first check that I had gotten paid for that company, or working as an engineer, I had immediately reinvested back into the business I was still trying to build from that time, those late nights in college. And it all started because at some point I realized that I wanted to change, and starting to not go out partying so much and staying in. Like one of my good friends, Cole, who also became, an entrepreneur, he was, I think I remember one night he was just I had my dorm room open or something like that, and he saw me working my laptop. It was like 9 p.m. on a Friday. And nobody does homework, first off, in college, 9 p.m. on a Friday. So he asked me if he was like, what I was doing. And I told him I was taking a course or something on marketing. And then he just came in, he started watching me, we started talking together, we tried to do some business together. Ultimately, he ended up going, and now he's doing real estate. But at some point in time, for me, I just realized that I was going to need to make some massive changes in my life. And I was not willing to stand for where I was at. And I had gotten a lot of hate, and there's a lot of people who just didn't agree with what I was going to do with my life and what I was going to chase, that there's so much risk, and I had such a good career and everything like that. And it just took me ultimately making a decision and deciding that the life that I had been living, or that I had been, everything I had worked towards to that point was not the life that I wanted. And if I had looked back, 50, 60, 70 years old and been like, damn, I didn't go for it because the people around me didn't support me or didn't agree, just because it's not that they don't even support me, they didn't support themselves. Other people told them that they couldn't do it. And so that became part of their belief. So it wasn't even like really a belief about me. Like, I'm not mad at anybody. And I think that's also a distinction I made as I got older and wiser, is that it's not even them. They weren't like hating on me. It was just their own beliefs that they were projecting on me, that somebody had told them, and they came to believe, and now they're just giving me those same beliefs. But I decided that I was going to go through the discomfort and the pain and the fear of failure and all that stuff, and then I wasn't going to take no for an answer, and I just became relentless towards chasing the goals and the dreams that I had. And it worked. It didn't work right away. There was a lot of failure. There was a lot of fear. I went broke. I slept on a couch, or slept on an air mattress for a while in my friends' apartments. And I just did everything I could. I spent more money trying to invest in the business, like 5 times more money over the course of a year than I even spent on my own living expenses. And it wasn't that much. I was maybe spending $1,000 a month. Like, I did everything I could to work in the business. And it wasn't like, let me see if this works out. It was I don't care how long it takes. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. I'm going to make it happen. Because the pain of being 60 years old and not living the life that I wanted to live, and being in the place that I wanted to be, and accepting a life that was less than me. You only got one shot. You only have one life. You only have one opportunity. Like, I'm not going to get another shot to be alive. I got this one life. And I would just say, if you're somebody who's maybe you feel stuck, or you maybe feel like, life right now is not what you had planned or wanted, and you're not quite happy with where you're at, there is another side. You can make it there. But you have to decide that no matter how long it takes, or what it takes, who you have to work with, how much time and money you might have to invest into that brighter future, your vision of your life, you have to commit that no matter how long it takes, how much fear you have to overcome, the friends that you're gonna have to lose, you will make it through. You will make it to the end. And you will, if you actually make that happen, and you actually go forth and embody the same mindset that I embodied and attack, then at the very least you can say that you tried. But if you truly embody that mindset of whatever it takes, I will not stop until I achieve this ideal vision of the future for myself, then it's not a matter of if it's possible. Of course it's possible. It's just a matter of, are you going to try to make this vision happen? And are you going to be putting in the time and effort to make it happen? It's not going to happen overnight. It took me 3 or 4 years to replace my engineering income. But I traveled through like 42 countries. I traveled the world. I met my wife, and now we live in a beautiful apartment in Miami. And I'm about to leave next week to go host a mastermind for 20 entrepreneurs, a surfing mastermind for 20 entrepreneurs in Mexico. and I'm only 28. But I had been working on this since I was 19. So didn't happen overnight for me. I was lucky in the sense that I was born in the US. I was lucky in the sense that I had a good upbringing, and I was able to go to college and afford it, get a good education, which I still am slowly paying off student loans for, which is a whole other story about college, but I'm just getting started. I'm still getting warmed up here. And I would recommend that if you're not happy with where you're at and you want to change, commit to that change and typically find better friends. If you only have one friend, one person in your life who truly supports you, spend more time with that person and less with the other 9 who don't. And allow yourself the room. It's going to hurt for a little bit. You're going to feel a little bit lonely. But if you truly seek out the right communities of people, you maybe invest into some masterminds or programs or anything related to what you want to do. Get out and travel. You open up and you allow the space for those people to enter your life, and you approach them with the energy that you want to be approached with. It will happen. So that's all I got to say tonight.